was in high school, I was handed a list, not literally on a physical piece of paper, but it might as well have been. It was a list of acceptable careers. I could be a teacher or a guidance counselor or an accountant, a physical therapist, a dentist, a doctor. It was kind of like, here's what's available, pick one, and squeeze your life into it. Did anyone else feel that way? I gave a speech to a group of high schoolers this week, and I told them that I felt like I was being asked to pick a flavor of ice cream at Baskin Robbins, but then that was the only flavor I would get to eat for the rest of my life. The trap is not picking the wrong career. The trap is picking from a menu of flavors that someone else designed, or sticking with that flavor as if it were the only option you'd have for the rest of your life. Just as I did. Most of my friends and clients have done this. We've picked a career, and once we're in it, we spend the next 20 years optimizing inside it, getting better at that career, getting promoted inside the career, getting comfortable inside the career. And then AI showed up. And a lot of those careers are becoming irrelevant. So today's episode is not about AI tools or prompts or productivity hacks. It's about something even bigger. It's about what AI is actually forcing us all to do, or what AI is giving us the opportunity to do, depending on how you want to frame it. And that is to rethink everything.
Well, everything sounds like a ton of work. What specifically are we rethinking?
Your career, your skills, your value, all of it. And I know it sounds a bit doomsday, but I actually think that it's the best opportunities most professionals have had in their lifetime. Let me explain what I mean. The people I work with are accomplished. They have 15, 20, sometimes 30 years of deep expertise in their field. They've built real credibility, and they come to me because they want to transition out of a corporate environment and into their own consulting practice. And one of the first things I notice is that they've spent decades optimizing inside a career.
What does that look like in practice?
It looks like this. They got hired for a specific function, finance, HR, operations, legal, whatever it was. And over the years, they got very, very good at that function. And they climbed inside that function. They became the expert inside that function. And the whole time, the whole world around them was rewarding them for staying in that career. Promotions, titles, bonuses, all of it said, yes, go deeper, get better, stay here.
Well, that's how corporate works.
Completely rational. And here's the problem. AI does not care about your career. AI does not care how many years you spent perfecting it. If what you do inside that career is primarily cognitive, analytical, repetitive, AI can now do a version of that faster, cheaper, and without taking a vacation.
So the career itself is becoming irrelevant.
Careers are becoming irrelevant, a thing of the past. And people who are going to get ahead, they're not the ones who double down on their career right now. They're the ones who rethink what they're actually bringing to the table and what only they can do, and those things that AI cannot replicate.
I imagine for someone who spent 20 years becoming the best at something, being told that that thing is becoming obsolete is not a small conversation.
It's not at all. And I had exactly that conversation a few months ago. I had a client come to me, and at some point, she mentioned that she had about 10 years to retirement. The job wasn't exciting her anymore. It hadn't been for a while. But she figured, it's 10 years. I can wait it out for 10 years. 10 years. I'll just get through it. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, she has no idea what the next 10 years are going to look like. She is planning on having a runway that doesn't exist in the form that she's imagining it.
because her career is not going to look the same in 10 years.
Exactly, her department has 10 people. In 10 years, honestly, probably sooner, AI will be handling the workload of 9 of them. Not because those people are not good at their jobs, but because the cognitive work that they were hired to do can now be replicated at scale, done faster, and for almost no cost. And when your expertise is commoditized like that, when it can be replicated that easily, it becomes obsolete to have that career. And that's the villain here. It's not AI, it's obsolescence.
Okay, so waiting it out is actually the riskier strategy here.
The riskiest strategy is thinking that you can just wait around for 10 years in a job that doesn't bring you joy anyway. Because you're not just waiting out a boring job, you're waiting out your own life. And by the way, AI is not going to wait for you to retire.
Okay, so what's the alternative? What does rethinking actually look like?
It starts with understanding the difference between your career and your value. Your career is the function you were hired for. Your value is it's the judgment, the insight, the relationships, the way you think about problems, your experiences, your interests, your skills. It's your unique lens for looking at the world, none of which AI can replicate. The career is becoming a commodity. You are not. But here's the thing, most people have never separated the two. They think that they are the career. They've been inside it so long that they cannot see where the career ends or where they begin.
That's actually quite confronting.
It is. And it's also incredibly freeing once you do it. Because what you find when you separate the two is that your real value is much more portable. It's scalable. It's much more interesting and fun than your career ever was.
Okay, and how do you actually help someone do that separation? Can you walk me through it practically?
I asked them one question. What problem do you solve that, if it went unsolved, would cost somebody something real? Money, time, reputation, sleep. And when they answer that question from that angle, the career disappears. Because the answer is never, I process invoices or I manage compliance reporting. It's always something like, oh, I make sure our CEO is never blindsided. Or I make sure acquisitions don't blow up 6 months after they close.
And that is the thing that AI cannot do.
AI can process the invoices. AI can run the compliance report. It can balance the books, all better than you and I can. AI cannot be the person who reads the dynamics of the room and knows what conversation needs to happen before the deal falls apart. That's human. That's yours. And that's what you build a consulting practice around.
Okay, so the rethink is not how do I survive AI? It's what about me becomes more valuable because of AI?
Exactly, Sully. Think about what happened when cranes were invented. The job of moving heavy things by hand became irrelevant. The people who understood what cranes meant for construction, for quickly moving objects through ports, they became more valuable. And because the cranes handled the heavy lifting, it freed humans for better work. I don't think anyone who lost a job moving heavy objects would still be complaining that they did it better than the crane ever did and calling the manual labor, oh, those were the good old days. AI is doing the same thing. It's taking the cognitive heavy lifting away, which means that the professionals who understand what to build, who to serve, and why it matters, they're not going to be replaced. They're going to be freed.
Only if they rethink it, though.
Only if they make the move. And that's the part that requires courage, because rethinking your value after 20 years of being rewarded for the career is not comfortable. But the alternative is waiting in a career that's quietly becoming obsolete and calling that a plan.
Okay, Mel, so you're saying that we can actually outrun obsolescence.
I'm saying you must.
but only if they rethink it.
And so you must also get moving today and start to rethink your value.
Okay, Mel, it's time to start wrapping up. So, what would you leave us as those final takeaways from today?
Thank you, Sully. All right, so here's the 3 things I want you to walk away with. 1. Your career and your value are not the same thing. Your career is the function, your value is the judgment, the relationships, the way you solve problems. That only comes from your specific combination of experience and who you are. Separate them. 2. AI is not the threat, obsolescence is. And the only way to stay relevant is to understand what you offer that AI cannot replicate and build around that. And 3rd, the professionals who rethink now are the ones who will define what consulting looks like in the next decade, not the ones who wait until their career collapses and then scramble. Start with that one question. What problem do you solve that, if it went unsolved, would cost somebody something real? Answer that honestly, and you'll find your way out of the career. All right, I told those high schoolers this week the trap is not picking the wrong career. The trap is picking a career and never questioning it, never being willing to change. And if you're still listening to this episode, it's because at some level, you already know the career stopped fitting you. And maybe it stopped fitting years ago. AI did not create that feeling, but AI did make the cost of ignoring it much higher. So here's your challenge. This week, answer the question in writing. What problem do you solve that, if it went unsolved, would cost someone something real? Don't write out a job title or resume bullets. Get to the real answer here, because that's where your consulting practice begins. AI is your opportunity to rethink everything. I'm Melissa Marchand, helping accomplished professionals build consulting businesses they love. If you know someone who's overdue for this rethink, please share the episode with them.